E13. Today we're joined by fashion designer and creative Zaid Farouki. Good morning, Zaid.
Good morning.
And thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you. And to kick things off, talk us through your morning routine.
So my favorite and most productive way of starting my day is actually waking up around 5 a.m. I actually have a gym class at 7 a.m. So 7 to 8 working out. Then from there off to the office, so I'll be in the office before 9. I guess until how much work I have during the day. And if I'm lucky enough, I get to catch up with my friends. And then usually I'm in bed before 10. So that's usually how my day is.
Okay, great. And what can you tell us about the journey that you went through to become a fashion designer?
So it hasn't been the smoothest of journeys. So we started off, I started off actually by always wanting to be a fashion designer. But coming from like a Middle Eastern background, my parents weren't fully on board. But when I was applying to college and I wanted a degree in fashion. So we kind of agreed on the fact that I will go and major in business administration and marketing. I did that. I got a degree in business administration and marketing. I minored in art to keep the creativity flowing. And then after completion, I moved to Italy, got a second degree in fashion design. And then I moved to London, got another, did short courses in fabric painting, couture embroidery, couture stitching, and then I moved to Dubai actually and launched my own brand, and that's how the journey has been, and it's been around over 3 years.
And what can you tell us about the creative process that you go through with your designs?
So what happens is that I really feed off the energy that I'm surrounded in, the city that I'm living in at that point, the different social interactions I have with people, and actually I'm really inspired by my background, my family background, and the region as well. So it's this kind of thing where like I have this idea and I leave it to kind of ferment in my head for like months. I might not like even think about it, sketch about it, but like it's right there. It's turning into that bigger image in the back of my head, and then it can take us about it can take me about a week, and I'll be completely done with the vision and the sketches and the mood boards, and so I really leave it in for quite a while until it becomes a reality.
And how would you summarize your brand in one sentence?
I think I can summarize it down to one word actually, and call it creative. Because we don't launch, so I guess I answered that question and I'll talk about it more, but because we don't really abide by seasons, we don't abide by collections, we have these themes and we just launch themes. And so it's more of works of art or installations, I view it, or like as a presentation in an art gallery, and you've got this kind of theme presented all at once. Okay.
And are there any other brands or designers that you look up to for inspiration?
I'll be lying if we don't, but but the thing is that there's definitely a very fine balance between inspiration and copying, because that's something that we do not endorse whatsoever. So for inspiration, we can go through many brands, whether the brands are still alive and functioning, or brands that have managed to close down in history. We're inspired by the history, by the feeling, the cut, the branding, everything of that sort. So I don't just look at it from just as cuts and what goes down the runway. I'm really inspired also by the journeys of those designers.
Okay.
And also I want to touch base and say, when we say we, it's my team and I. I'm the sole designer and painter and all of that. But then we have a team of that bring out my ideas to life, and also a marketing manager.
Okay. And obviously you came back to the Middle East from when you were traveling and working abroad. What's your take on the design scene in the Middle East now?
So what had happened was that we moved back to the Middle East because we wanted to be part of that growing talent base and talent pool that's available. We have examples of people who have made it big in the Middle Eastern designers that have made it big specifically, and right now that Couture Week is happening. I think it's flooded by Arab designers. We look at it and I see that there's so much potential, and there's a lot to say about this region. Also because we are I tend to believe we're one of the major markets of fashion in the world, and we are statistically. And I think we needed a voice from within us to come out, people from the region, and be like, this is us, this is what we create, and it's creating that community all together.
Okay, great. And do you have a professional motto that you live by?
I think, I don't know if it's a motto, but I always have this thing in the back of my head. It might be a bit dark, but I always say, like, would I actually regret it on my deathbed? That's the whole idea. So that afterwards, I just go ahead with it.
Okay. And what would you say is your biggest career success to date?
More than the career success, I think the journey for me is very personal as well, because my career is me and I am the brand, and it's like this relationship between all of us that you kind of, it's watered down, you no longer distinguish yourself. And I think my growth, more or less, it really, if I were to focus on one key success, then maybe I'll take a break and like go on a vacation, but I don't want to do that. And it's actually seeing my growth day by day, month by month, year by year. So that's, I think, the major success.
Okay. And what about your biggest challenge? What would you say that is?
I think the biggest challenge is kind of, as I mentioned before, I am the brand, I am the creative behind it, yet I am what my personal growth the brand relies on it. So I think the biggest challenge is, in a weird way, kind of protecting myself and creating this, I don't want to say shield, but looking at constant growth and trying to grow internally and personally every single day, career-wise, in my personal life, because if I give myself that measure, then we'll grow in different aspects. So I think it is really kind of, I don't want to say protecting myself, but more or less waking up every day ready for a new day, ready to kind of put myself into that positive mental situation, and kind of pushing away the negative thoughts onto the side, because either that or I'm just not going to be creative for that day or a week or even month.
Okay. And do you have a professional mentor or someone who inspires you?
I do. I'm lucky enough to be mentored by Mr. Hussein, who's actually a major player in the industry, especially the Middle Eastern industry. He is currently the CEO of Net-a-Porter Middle East. It has been a pleasure being mentored by him. It really did. He really did assist me in many ways.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Trust your instinct.
Okay. And what do you say no to?
Copying other people's work. So clients, I've had certain people have come in and be like, oh, we really love this dress by that certain designer. And it comes to a point where, like, I'm sorry, I can't actually create it for you.
And complete the sentence for me. I'm happy when?
I'm happy when I am the most creative.
Okay. And how would you describe your style?
I describe it bold, with a bit of cultural heritage, and there's no limitation in a way. So in a way that, why would you limit yourself to a certain aspect or a certain cut or a certain idea. It's at the end of the day, it's like dressing up or having like a costume every single day. So you gotta play it out and really dress up to your personality. Don't shun it. And just be you. Let it come out.
Okay. And are you reading a book at the moment?
So actually, on my nightstand, there's 3 books. One is an Arab book about old Middle Eastern kind of politics. It's in Arabic. And then I have a Harvard Review, business review book about sales and marketing. And then there is another book which is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a...
And for our final question, how would you like the world to remember you?
I just want to, at the end of the day, I just want to be, I guess, inspire future generations, specifically the younger generation from our region, to kind of go after what they truly want. I think at the end of the day, it's remembering me for what I do. It's a life that I lived, and everything that I will produce or have produced within. It's just that preserving that I can be remembered for.
Okay, perfect. Zaid, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much. Thank you.